Well, it is 7:30 a.m. in New York, 2:30 p.m. in Johannesburg, and 6:30 p.m. in Bangkok. Welcome to a special version of the Expat Happy Hour. This is Sunday Schneider-Bean from Schneider-Bean.com, and I am a solution-oriented coach and intercultural strategist for individuals and organizations. And I am on a mission to help you adapt and succeed abroad and get you through any life transition. Now, today is a special episode of Expat Happy Hour because in addition to this being our podcast, which kicks off an entire series on how to help you make it through the holidays without regrets while you live abroad. This is also being videoed. So if you're someone who loves to consume your information and inspiration on video, you can catch it on YouTube, on my website, as well as if you're someone watching this right now, but also love podcasts, you can check out the podcast on Expat Happy Hour. So happy to have you with me today. Now, we're going to talk about the holiday season. And I know from the time of November to January, many cultures celebrate multiple traditions. So I want to keep this as broad as possible, but I'll be speaking a lot from my experience. And that is around holidays like Thanksgiving and Christmas that I grew up with from my cultural tradition. So even though some of the traditions I might be talking about or cases I talk about don't apply to you directly, I'm sure there's some themes that connect through it all. Because what we're talking about when we are living abroad, far away from loved ones, while there is an important tradition or holiday being celebrated, is really that it can feel extra tough to be around loved ones. At the same time, I hear people all the time talking about how stressed they are about the holiday seasons. So this is why we're going to focus some attention on that, because the holiday season can bring back some really heavy feelings for people when actually it's the time where everybody's telling me you should be feeling joyful. So I'm going to give you a thought to ponder, whether you agree with Victor, what is his name? Victor Borge. He's a Danish and American pianist and conductor. He says, Santa Claus has the right idea. Visit people only once a year. So depending on your family and your circumstances, you might say, oh yeah, that's true. But you might be like me, who would love to visit my family every single month if I had the means and if I had the time. Okay, so what we're looking at today is whether you should stay or go during the holidays. And whether you need to stay or go during the holidays depends on what you need now, right? And if you're listening to this or watching this, I have a hunch that that isn't always your default. Most people's default, at least the people that I work with, are, faithful family members and often think about everyone else's needs first. All right, I'm looking at you right now. And if you're listening to this podcast, I'm pointing my finger and I'm looking at you. If you are the type of person who always puts the organization's needs, your partner's needs, or your kids' needs first, this is important to think about. Okay, because holiday time can be stressful enough if you're making extra foods, buying extra things, stretching your budget, planning trips, trying to close up projects, that the last thing you need to do is ignore what you really need and then just serve everybody else's needs, because you'll end up feeling bitter, to be honest. So I'm going to share with you a story from my own life to talk about how you can really create a better solution for you and for your loved ones when you name what you need. Okay, so flashback to May of this year. We had booked our trip to the United States, and that's 4 of us, my husband and my 2 children. Let's just say the flights were expensive. We were getting in the boundary of paying a flight fee for all 4 of us that was on the border of 5 digits. And I don't think I've ever paid that much for flights before in my life, but I had not seen my mother and father for a whole year. So I would have maxed out every single credit card, to be honest, to see my family. I was really looking forward to seeing my best friends from high school, and I had some business trips lined up. So this was a really important vacation. But we had waited for everybody else to decide what they were doing with the summer till we booked our flights, because we were trying to, fit in everybody's needs. And what the result was is that our flights were astronomical. And we booked them and we got through it. And the people we were waiting on, some of them couldn't give us an answer. We ended up seeing them or not seeing them. So the longer we waited did not impact whether we were able to make time together or not. So we paid this massive, 4 flight tickets. And we were sitting on the bed that morning. It was about 5:30, and we get up really early here in South Africa. And I remember the birds were chirping and the sun was shining in and my kids were still sleeping. And I was talking to my husband, and we were like, for real? Do we have to pay this much again in 6 months and take our kids across the world again in 6 months? Go through jet lag again in 6 months. And we said there has to be a better way. And we're in a binational relationship, like many of you might. I'm from the US, he's from Switzerland. Some of you are from Peru and Germany and, places that are quite far away from each other on the globe. So you know what I'm talking about. We decided that we'll spend every other Christmas in our home. So that means one time with my family, one time with his family. And up until now, that's worked really well. But now we're at the tip, the southernmost tip of Africa. And my in-laws are way up in Switzerland, and my parents are way over in North America. So this is a different situation. And we looked at each other and we thought, there's got to be a better way. I just can't imagine paying that much money again and going through all of that energetically and with jet lag and feeling okay with it. I knew if we said yes to that again, that we would all feel a little bitter, not to mention broke. So that's where we were stuck. And what we did is, for us to know whether we should stay in South Africa or go to see my family, we had to know what we needed now. And I want you to do the same thing. So here's what we decided that we needed as a family. Okay, we looked at our lives in 2016, that I lived and sent my kids to school in 3 countries in 1 year. So what we needed is more stability. We had been traveling for work, and my husband and me independently. So we had a lot of international trips and times of separation in 2017. We also knew that for the amount of money we could spend on flights, just flights, to get to the United States, we could have amazing experiences in South Africa. And at the same time, I really knew I needed to see my mom and dad for Christmas, because I have young boys and I want them to have that connection. I also knew that my in-laws were planning a trip for March, so that I would have both, Gros and Gros Papi in March and Grandma and Grandpa in December. So what I knew I wanted was my mom and dad with the grandkids at Christmas. So we named it and we thought, okay, how can we do that? Okay, so this is the first thing that we had to do. We had to get clear in what we needed. So some of you might be singing that song, should I stay or should I go now? And you're faced with a dilemma, right? As the song says, if I go, there will be trouble. And if I stay, it will be double. So you might be feeling a dilemma of, should I stay or should I go? Maybe you're pregnant and you're scared to fly based on the way your health is. Maybe your kid has something that they've been dealing with health-wise, and you don't want to disrupt the progress you've made because of the impacts of jet lag. Maybe you've just moved to a country, really had a hard time transitioning, and you're finally in the swing of things, and you're scared that if you go back home and reconnect with all your friends and family, it's going to be like opening up the wound again and pouring salt into it. So maybe you're in a tough situation. Maybe you're strapped for cash because you just made a huge international move and no company supported you at all. And the flights would drain every last cent or rupees from your bank account, right? So you're not alone if you're feeling this dilemma. Should I stay or should I go? And that's why I want you to get clear on what you need, just like I had to sit down and do with my partner on that Saturday morning. Okay, so what did we do after we got clear on that? Okay, we got really clear on our needs. And I would like to tell you that I was like, oh, no problem, I'll just let them know. I sat there, I was really clear in my body, that's what I wanted to do. But I was kind of scared, I took the phone and I was like, okay, I'm gonna do it. I'm really gonna tell them. I'm gonna type it. And I was kind of nervous, like, how are they gonna respond? Is it gonna be hard for them? Are they willing to come here? So yes, I was nervous, but I was not wavering on what I knew I needed. So I sent the message and I said, because we had not even visited there for summer yet, right? This is just in May, right before our June visit. And I said, listen, Mom and Dad, can't wait to see you. I wanted to give you a heads up based on how much time, energy, and money this trip takes. I do not see us coming home for Christmas. Okay, so heads up, this is something that I want you to prepare for. So I told them about the time, the money, and the energy drain on us, and I prepared them for this conversation. And once we got there, thankfully, my parents are really, really wonderful in the sense that they're healthy enough that they can travel, they're open to going to new places, and we do have a good relationship so we can have conversations around these things. But when we got there, what I did is I was also able to say, again, really transparently, this is like, exactly how much this costs. This is exactly how many hours we spent in the air. I did it by myself, 3 continents, 2 kids, and where we were coming from and what we really needed. I've also been doing this since 1998 and going to see my family often with my kids since they were born 9 years ago. So my parents really appreciate the fact that I make this effort. And I'm so grateful that I have parents who see that and appreciate that. So I understand some people might have more of a barrier to go through when it comes to explaining that to their loved ones. So what we did is we shared what we needed. We made the request, would you be willing to come our way for Christmas this year? And my mother responded with grace and openness. And she said, your dad and I will talk about it. Okay, so Mom, if you're watching this, this was not exactly intentional, but when I think about it in hindsight, I think it was a good idea. So what did we do? We shared our lives of South Africa. We showed pictures. So we showed beautiful scenes, things that we've done, safaris, gave them a taste of what they would enjoy while they were there. So if you're listening to this or you're watching this and you're thinking, oh, my parents don't want to come to wherever you live, right? Then one thing you might want to do is share more about your life and what is amazing. And I mean, South Africa is a gorgeous place and super easy to convince people to come to when you look at the wildlife. But when we were living in Ouagadougou, Burkina Faso, there were, even from objective perspectives, things that were not appealing because of infrastructure, etc. But there were so many beautiful things to love about the city if you share that with people. So no matter where you live, and you want to invite your family to come visit you, to see if you can convince them to join you that year, then share more about what's wonderful. Because some people don't want to come visit because they're comfortable. They're comfortable at home. They're comfortable with their traditions. They're comfortable with where they go to go grocery shopping for Thanksgiving or Christmas or whatever holiday you're celebrating. And asking them to come out of their comfort zone, which for you feels normal, might be a stretch for them. So showing them a piece of your life and what they would get if they visited is a nice way to reduce their uncertainty. Okay, so that's what we did. Once I was face to face with them, they said they were very serious about considering it, and we let it go. We had a wonderful time together. Once we got back, what did I do? I checked in and said, listen, these are the dates I'd love you to come. So I didn't leave it passively. I took an active role and said, these are the dates. Our kids are out of school. We will make time for you, and we can really enjoy each other. And step by step, we were able to book flights that fit their schedule and ours. And it was also, I think, a really good situation, because when they were booking their flights, they saw, yeah, these things do get expensive. And I know that the difference between what they booked and what we booked was probably $6,000. So we did save collectively as a family a lot by making this decision. But they also, it's good for a family to see, yeah, these are investments that we're making. Because I know I talked to a lot of you. You have this feeling that your friends and family take it for granted that you come every summer or every Christmas. And when they do the trip themselves, I do believe they have a newfound understanding of the commitment that you make to visit. And I'm lucky. I have wonderful family who acknowledges that and sees that. And I'm encouraging you, if you do ask someone to come your way and then they do come your way for the first time, you don't have to say, see, that's what I've been doing for years, because they'll know it. They'll know it when they push send on the credit card, and they'll know when they transfer airports at 2 a.m, their body time. All right, so now that we have defined what we needed, and we set boundaries around expectations, we also painted a picture of how great it would be for them to come. We kept proactive in touch about making it real. Then one wonderful thing that worked out is I got curious about, well, hey, mom and dad, what do you need? What do you want to experience while you're here? I wanted to know their expectations. So I learned what they want is no hassle, no stress, and time with the grandkids. Maybe one fun experience, but don't overpack it. And that was such a great way for me to be able to plan our time together. Another thing that we did to abide by the no stress rule is that we agreed not to buy each other Christmas presents. They don't have to stress before they go, pack them, worry about whether they'll be taken out of the suitcases at the airport, et cetera, et cetera. So one way to reduce stress is just to say, well, let's cut out the one thing that is stressful. Okay, so those are some things that you could do when you have visitors if they are feeling a bit stressed, how to reduce their uncertainty. Okay, so we did a lot more to reduce the stress and uncertainty at Christmas, but I can talk to you more about that later. But what I really want to focus on is this question of whether you should stay or go. So what we've talked about so far is about getting clear on what you want. And why is this so important? Right? Answering that question, should I stay or should I go, is important, because if you don't answer it from a place of truly knowing what you want and need, you're going to be bitter if you do it from a place of shoulds and coulds. You might dump thousands and thousands of, pounds, dollars, francs, whatever the currency is, to go to a place that you're not ready to go to with your whole heart, right? And the other reason why it's so important is because you teach people how to treat you. For those of you who have been packing up your 4 kids, loading them into a plane, losing sleep, disrupting sleep schedules, and seeing your family every single year, when you have enough, you create boundaries and you say, this is too much for me now, and you have to speak for your needs. And if you then do it anyway, and your whole body says no, you're teaching people that you can be pushed into a situation. And I know you might have that sense of guilt, like, I'm the one who moved abroad, I'm the one who lives far away. Believe me, I have played that tune in my mind as well. And I do believe, because I made the choice to live abroad, that I am willing to make the extra effort to visit friends and family, because I chose to move outside of the national boundaries. If I lived in a huge country like the US and lived in a state far away, I don't think you would have to make any other different efforts. You still have to book the flight. You still have to save the money. You still have to block the time. So don't treat it like any other way of just making the effort to see your family in alignment with your values. Okay, so avoid bitterness. Have an opportunity to treat yourself the way you want to be treated and teach people how to treat you. And this is a wonderful opportunity to practice on how you can get clear on your needs in tough times. Because it's actually in the tough times when we need to get clear on our needs the most. And if you can start practicing by a family holiday and do that over and over consistently, you will build the muscles to be able to make those tough calls when they really, really matter. Okay. So I know what you're thinking. You are thinking, Sunday, love the idea, but I don't know what I need, right? Or maybe you're thinking, well, what if they don't respond as positively as your family did? Or maybe you're saying, I am just too overwhelmed to make a decision. Now remember, for you to know whether you should stay or go, you need to name what you need now. And if you're saying you don't know what you need, it is imperative that you block out 20 minutes, 30 minutes of time where you're not distracted so you can get calm and quiet and listen to what you need. That might be going for a walk. That might be sitting in silence. That might be talking to a friend over a glass of wine, your best friend who can, tease out what you really want faster and better than you can. So you need to make this a priority. Don't walk away from the discomfort of not knowing what you need. Walk towards it, because that's the only way through. Okay, so that is, if you don't know what you need, make it a priority. The second thing is, if you are worried that your family isn't going to respond as positively as mine did, which is totally legitimate, right? Every family responds differently. Then you need to take control where you can control it. And that is how you frame your communication in a way that is coming from love and strength, right? Love for them, love for your family and your needs, and strength in what your needs are. So if you want a tip, one thing you can do is you can go to Marshall Rosenberg's Nonviolent Communication. They have amazing resources on the way you can frame what you've noticed, what you need, and the requests that you're making. I can also email you if you send me a message at sunday@Schneider-Bean.com and send you the link myself so you have more resources. I've also written about that many times in my work on my blog. So get really clear on your needs, share that with them in a loving, non-defensive way, and you have to let go of the outcome. You can only control yourself. You can't control other people's responses, right? But you can make a kind request for them to listen to you and be willing to meet your need. Okay, and maybe that need is for flexibility this 1 year. The truth is, you have to be willing to let go of the outcome. So if they choose to not come this Christmas or whatever holiday that you're celebrating, and you choose to stay where you're at, don't allow that to fester and make you bitter and say, fine, if you don't want to come, then it's over and you don't love me and all those things. Allow them their choice. We don't know what they're struggling with. We don't know what their comfort zone is. And get creative. Perhaps you can carve out some special time over FaceTime or on the telephone on that special occasion where you can still connect. I know it sounds easier than it is implementing, but it's a commitment of staying connected to your family. All right, and the last one is, what if you're too overwhelmed to make a decision, right? Then this is a great time to reach out for support. Ask your partner, ask your best friend, reach out to a coach, and say, okay, can you help me get my thoughts clear here? And for me, the antidote to overwhelm is always planning. What are you overwhelmed by? What needs to be done? By when? And if you're able to carve out those 20 minutes for yourself to reduce the overwhelm, it is so much more likely that you're going to get clear on what you really want. All right, so to know whether you should stay or go, you need to know what you need now. Okay, so let's recap the tips. All of the things that we've talked about today that can serve you in answering the question, should I stay or should I go? Okay, tip 1, name what you need. And if you don't know, make it a priority to find out. Tip 2, ask your family what they need to be willing to meet your request. Okay, once you've expressed what you need, ask your family what they're willing to do or what they need to meet your request. Again, you might not find a solution, but you're doing everything within your power to make it possible. Okay. Third thing is brainstorm in creative ways. Now that I know what I need and what kind of requests I have, what is a way that we can make this happen? So maybe taking a flight home is just outrageously expensive, but your family is tight on money. Well, what if you took half of the money you would have spent on your flights and help pay for the flights that they're struggling to pay with? So everybody pulls their money in. That's one way to do it, right? So the point is how can you get creative at finding a way to enjoy the holiday together as a family? And some of you might be thinking, I don't even want to see my family for vacation, and that's okay. There's no judgment. Some of you might be thinking, all I really want to do is go lay on a beach in Thailand, because you and your partner have a go, go, go lifestyle and you're able to see them in other ways and you feel fine with that, then that's what you do, right? Get clear on what you want and get creative on how you create that. And if it's, drinks on the beach, then all the power to you in really taking the time to getting your needs met. Okay, and then the last one is really important. You've narrowed down what you need. You've narrowed down strategies to get that, to make that happen. You've acknowledged the people that might be flexible in the situation, how you can creatively meet their needs, okay? And hopefully you found a situation that you can totally stand behind. The last thing I want you to do, tip 4, is to strategize for next year. Because if you're like me in a binational relationship, what you do one year has implications to who gets to do what the next year, right? So if you visit one family this year, maybe there's expectations that you see the other family the next holiday season. So right now, when everything is fresh and your needs are clear, strategize. What does this decision mean for us in the future? Because the choices that we make have an impact on our lives. It has an impact on our budget and how we spend our time with our loved ones. So strategize with your partner based on this decision we made to get our needs met. How can we feel really happy in how we connect with our loved ones from now until the next big event? Okay, you guys, those are some simple things that you can do to get started on answering the tough question in this busy holiday season. Should I stay or should I go? And I would love to invite all of the listeners and viewers today, if you're thinking about big holidays that are coming up. For me, as born and raised American, Thanksgiving is the next holiday that comes up. And then Christmas is a time to celebrate. New Year's celebrations are big. Those are 3 moments of celebration that I love to connect with my family. So if you're not facing this huge dilemma, should I stay or should I go? Because it's clear you're either staying or you're going, I invite you to take this opportunity to think, how will I make the best of this to celebrate with my loved ones regardless of where I am? All right, so I'm going to leave you with a thought from JFK Jr. He says, as we express our gratitude, we must never forget that the highest appreciation is not in utter words, but to live by them. So this is your moment to live by your gratitude and appreciation for yourself, for your needs, for your immediate family, and for those close to you. And even if it feels like a tough decision, I truly believe that if you get clear on what your needs are, you understand the others, and you're creative in finding a strategy, that you can truly appreciate your holiday season and be grateful. Because come on, you deserve to have an amazing time full of gratitude, ease, and love. And that is my wish for you. So this is Schneider-Bean of Schneider-Bean.com, and you've been listening or watching in today's special episode of the Expat Happy Hour. So take care, and I look forward to talking to you next time. If you are hungry for more on how to make the best of an upcoming vacation, do not hesitate to hop on my blog at Schneider-Bean.com and search in categories for expat vacations, because I have done multiple articles, blogs, videos for you. So all the resources are there. And kind of let you in a little secret. If you want to know even more for how to connect with your loved ones, even when you live far away, stay tuned, because I have got something coming up within the next 8 weeks that you are going to want to know about. A little free something for you. So stay tuned to Expat Happy Hour. Have a great day, y'all, and I'll talk to you next time.